All right, now we have our message for the day, and that is going to be from our very own Reverend Joyce Zorger, who has this very special message for us entitled, "And I Rise Not Alone." Okay, Joyce, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Good morning, good Easter morning to each one of you. I just love this time of year. It's such an honor to me to be able to speak to you on this very special day. Um, I I was driving into San Luis Obispo the other day with my husband John, taking him to an eye doctor appointment, and we take Orchid Road that way to San Luis Obispo to his doctor. And the sight of the poppies along the side of the road, I don't think they've ever been so brilliant. And the hills so green. I mean, this is, even though we haven't had that much rain this season or winter season, the hills certainly are green around here, around Feather Ranch, and the ceanothus. I don't know if you are familiar with what that is, but it's a bush that gets lavender flowers, sometimes white, but ours on our property get lavender flowers. So it's just, and there's poppies everywhere. And the guy that, my helper that comes and mows on Monday, he managed to go around every little poppy bush and didn't take it down. And I was grateful for that. I didn't tell him about that, but he knows how much I love flowers. I um, this to me the Easter story. The Easter story and the songs. I just love what Martha read in her inspiration, and I totally agree with all that she read. And it just is so inspiring to know that to me it's like it tells us it's an old way of being crucified so something new can be born. And that's what it is for me. And I think for many people that I've been reading about. And it's an example of our experiencing how our nation has been experiencing and how our world has been struggling through the challenges of this past year and managing through the shifts of external circumstances has really affected our way of being to somewhat to some degree. But the Easter story reminds me that no matter what seems to happen, it does not have the final word, that we can look beyond appearances and recognize that there is a divine plan unfolding. And I see that happening. And as I quiet my mind and all the jumble and chatter that goes around in my mind, it's sometimes an effort to just quiet it down and to realize that and connect with that power within me, because that power guides me to to release those limiting thoughts. Um, our perception and my perception of the world is a reflection of our and my state of consciousness. I know that. The resurrecting spirit. This is this time of year we talk about the resurrecting spirit. It's the resurrecting spirit within us that sees things new again. And that's why I love Easter. It's one of my favorite times of year and one of my favorite holidays. I remember so many Easters in the past, and each one seems to become, to me, more holy and more clearly understood by me, and what it is to me. It's the resurrection, and it's the transformation of our thinking, of my thinking. It says we need to have that motivation and the incentive to rise from the dead. The dead, to me, are limiting thoughts that push us down, push me down. And I come to thinking in new life, and to let the energy and the life of the Christ, that Christ spirit that Martha shared with us in her inspirational talk, and that we know that Jesus is the man and Christ is that God within us that expresses individually, uniquely as each one of us. And this is what impels me forward. And this is what I invite you to know that it impels you forward as well. I love the words of Ernest Holmes. He's the founder of the Science of Mind philosophy. And he said, the resurrection is the death of the belief that we are separate from God. The resurrection is the death of the belief that we are separate from God. We are not separate from God. If we feel separate, it's we that are separating ourselves from that power within. We can always know that it's there, no matter how we are thinking, no matter how what is happening in our life. We can come back to that center and be still and know that I am God. I love that. I say that often for myself, to center myself, to bring myself back to the truth of my being. A Unity speaker, Unity teacher, Martha Spock, wrote these words in her article. Her article was entitled, "Right Now, the Resurrection Work is Going On in You." And this is what she wrote, "We have all known someone who, when hopes and dreams seemed shattered, has had the courage and faith to pick up the pieces to make a new start, a new beginning, and that is resurrection." And that's what I see as resurrection. It's resurrecting my thoughts to thoughts that that set me free from anything that limits my way of living and enjoying life and seeing the joy all around me, and opening up to the beauty that is in the world. And if we're feeling like we're having struggles finding that beauty, I invite you to just go somewhere in nature. And nature is so fulfilling. And nature, to me, answers all the questions that I might have when I see the new growth. And I think of that new growth that within each one of us, there is that when we embrace that thought that we are continually growing. And this new growth, I mean, it comes so apparent this time of year as everything is coming forth in its newness. The story of the life of Jesus is the story of a man evolving into the Christ. But revealing the Christ within requires more than just lip service. The Christ that awaits our recognition is not a cookie cutter replica of Jesus or a shifting of our sins to him for resolution and redemption. And when I grew up as a Lutheran, that's basically what we needed to, that was my thinking then. And to me, it is, we do with diligence and work, that we do our own salvation by the way we think, the way we act, the way we how we express ourselves, how we love. And to me, that love is God inspired. And so to do the work, accept the discipline of the daily spiritual practice. And you know, I've shared with this many times that to me, a spiritual practice gets me through my day. If I didn't do the things I do and have it be a top priority, I don't know where I'd be in my life today and in the things that I'm dealing with. I love what Martha said about age. Age is just a number, and it's. But I'm recognizing certain things that I used to be able to do that I haven't been able to have that kind of energy to do. But that's okay. I honor my body, and I honor my thoughts, and my thoughts carry me through the day. And being kind to myself, and that I love that sit, stay, pray, okay. And I use that with my puppies. I don't put the pray in there, but sit and stay. But this is for me, it disciplines me to sit and stay and pray, and then everything is okay. And the pray is the meditation, the listening. I love to listen to that when I get onto Unity and the meditation that they offer each day. It's just so beautiful. And I have to share with you, usually when I'm speaking, I call Silent Unity and ask for a confidence in knowing that whatever it is that I choose to share, that it comes forward with confidence and with joy, because it is a joy for me to share with you. And it is a joy for me to hear what I have to share, because I don't always know how it's going to be. But this woman that answered the phone this morning, she was just absolutely wonderful in her prayer to me. And there was just tears rolling down my cheeks when we got through. And I thanked her so much for being available. I invite you to call Silent Unity anytime you need a little bit of encouragement or a little bit of help with changing any thoughts that you might have that you're less than you're or not worthy enough to do what you are about to do. Just call Silent Unity for encouragement. It helps me very much. Um, so that's my spirit, the discipline of a daily spiritual practice. That's that's what we do to work out our own salvation, because that discipline helps, and it creates it within each one of us a better life. As Jesus told us in John 14:12, he said, "The things that I have done, you also shall do, and greater than these shall you do." And these are the things that as we go, I see whenever I feel sad or discouraged, I get a phone call, I get a note in the mail, and all of our beautiful ambassadors have been sending out notes in the mail to our congregation, and receiving something in the mail other than bills or uh, requests for money. I think this is, it's so, it's uplifting. And all of those beautiful ambassadors that are taking the time to do this, I want you to recognize that this is something that we're doing to stay connected, because the Unity community and our Sunday gatherings, we see each other and we hear each other speak, and we just, it's such a beautiful way of connecting at this time. There's something that I read in it's Morpheus from the Matrix, and this was the line. It says, "Sooner or later, you're going to realize that there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Instead of spouting hollow platitudes, we courageously walk the spiritual path and learn from it." And that had a lot really struck home for me. And rather than just spouting hollow platitudes, we courageously, and it does take courage at times, to courageously walk the spiritual path and learn from it. Reverend Brian once defined the Easter story as being one where an old way of being is crucified so something new can be born. No matter what happens to us, we can look beyond appearances and recognize that there is a divine plan unfolding, in divine right order. I like to say that everything is happening in divine right order. So, with faith and determination, we make up our minds that we are no longer going to stay in the depths of despair. When we do, the power of the universe rush to our aid, as though God takes our hands and lifts us up, and we rise not alone. And I like that. To me, that arise not alone, because whenever there's a feeling of despair or discouragement, there's something that usually happens in my life that just a phone call, like I said, or something that takes my mind into a place of joy, and then I focus on that joy, and or I have a memory that brings me joy, and it helps me so much to raise me up. And I know that when when someone calls, or I take the time to call someone, that reaching out helps raise me up, and I don't rise alone. The person that I'm calling, I'm sure, has a feeling that they were remembered and that they were thought about, and they received the phone call, and it makes them happy too. And I like that. I like to be able to make people happy, and it gives me joy as well. So there was something that Easter Sunday, about 10 years ago, that a lot has happened in the last 10 years. But it was a daily word reading that I just loved, and it was called "Christ is Risen, Life is Renewed, and I am Grateful." And I love that so much that I saved it. I save a lot of things that are meaningful writings to me. And whenever I am feeling down or out or discouraged, I somehow find these articles or find exactly the right book to read. And it's I know that this is the Christ consciousness working in and through me. But I'd like to read this to you. It says, Jesus, our way shower, lived a life of overcoming through awareness of his eternal nature and oneness with God. Jesus demonstrated mastery even over death. His followers were amazed and overjoyed as they recognized the risen Christ Jesus. Easter is a celebration of the resurrection. With joy, I acknowledge the rising of my own Christ nature. Following the teachings of Jesus, I overcome trials of doubt and fear that may have darkened my mind. One with the overcoming power of Christ, I rise and shake off the past. Any stone of despair lying heavy on my heart rolls away in the bright morning light. Guided by my inner Christ presence, I joyfully walk in the newness of life. It's all up to us. So, in closing, I'd like to. There's a closing affirmation I'd like to read. It's this. We can use this kind of like as a closing meditation and a closing prayer. And I'll take a sip of water before I read it. I'm going to say this. I'm going to read this every day. Guided by the resurrecting power of the Christ Spirit within me, I am set free from the tomb of lack and limitation. And I'd like to read this. It's a beautiful poem. And this is where I got the title for my talk. And you'll hear it at the end of this poem. And this poem is called Today is the Day. And it's written by Michael Price. And he wrote this in 1997, the year we moved into Feather Ranch, as a matter of fact. So today is the day I say a eulogy to past mistakes and thank them for their lessons. Today is the day I open my eyes from the long, deep sleep of forgetfulness and awaken to the ancient beat of wisdom within my heart. Today is the day I arise from my bed of thorns and dance to the rhythm of life that my soul still knows. Today is the day I fall in love again with myself and those around me, for we all are beloved children of God. Today is the day I open my arms and embrace my fellow travelers on life's journey and come to love them, not despise them. And come to love them, not despite, but because of their humanity. Today is the day I rise from the ashes of despondency and glide like the great phoenix through the sky of my destiny and freedom. And I rise not alone. So rise with me on this day and know that we are being called to a better way. And enjoy your life. These are special, special times. And we take this all in, and we are so grateful. And I am so grateful for my community, my Unity community, and for the friends and family in my life, and all of my four-footed furry friends and family. And all of these things give me great joy. And I know that whatever is going on in your life, that seek the joy and seek God within you and allow it to express. We are all that individualized expression of the one life that is God. And so it is. Thank you.